Welcome to Uncontained episode 162. I'm your host, Aaron Static Render, and on the show today I have filmmaker, video game developer, and rapper Anson Goode Jr. But before I jump into the show, I have a couple updates slash just things to throw out there for you guys. One, if you ever get a chance to see Buddy Guy play, do so. Yes, the living blues legend. I got a chance to check him out this last weekend, and man, at 83 years old, he can still play the guitar, still gets around doing guitar tricks, playing behind his back, playing the guitar with a drumstick. If you get a chance to see him, check him out. He's also playing with opening act, which if you watched Netflix Luke Cage series, you may have seen him play at the club there in Luke Cage. He goes by the name Kingfish. Definitely check him out as well. He's going on tour with Buddy Guy. And do yourself a favor, if you see Buddy Guy is coming, check him out. You don't even have to be a huge blues fan to appreciate him. You just have to like guitar. If you like guitar and love the blues, that's even better. And who knows how long you'll be able to check him out for. Does seem like he could play for another 20 years and be good, because he's 83 and still doing pelvic thrusts on stage. So please go check him out while you still can. And on a personal update, I will be doing some stand-up comedy again. Yes, that's right. I've talked about it on my show, wanting to get back up on stage, and past guest Ace Boone is having the second anniversary of his show at La Estrellita in Oakland, California, Hilarious Fridays, and he's kind enough to give me a few minutes to get up on stage. So if you are looking to go check out some stand-up comedy on April 27th, which happens to be my birthday as well, hit me up on social media, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and I will get you connected with tickets to that show. So I'll be posting about that as well as we get closer to the show. But just to check it out, it'll be my first time on stage in a while. Come watch me get the rust off. So now, to the show today. It is an entertaining show, to say the least. As I mentioned, I speak with Anson Goode Jr. Yes, he is a video game developer, a filmmaker, and also a rapper. He goes by Wes G. Poet. If you don't know his film production company, you should get to know it. It's Black Rose Productions, and I will have a link to their YouTube channel and all of their social media in the show notes, so make sure you check that out as well. I won't keep talking at you much longer. Just had to let you know that Buddy Guy still kicks ass after all these years, and yeah, I'm finally taking that step to get back up on stage. So come check it out, support. But right now, plug in those earbuds. This is my interview and my conversation with Anson Goode Jr. How's it going today, Anson?
How's it going, Aaron Static Render? What's up, man?
It's going well. It's going well, man. Just glad we finally, connected, because last weekend you were actually up here in the Bay Area, but you were busy that whole time.
That whole time, man, with the Game Developer Conference, GDC 19.
Are you developing any games right now, or were you there kind of as a spectator?
I was there as a CA, as a conference associate. We're the people that help the other game devs get to and from all their locations and stuff. We had been working on some games a couple years ago, but had to take a hiatus once we started the filmmaking. But then going back to GDC, man, I'm re-inspired, reinvigorated. So we're picking up and working on another title.
All right, that's awesome. Can you say anything about what you're working on, or is that still kind of under wraps?
It's kind of hush-hush, but I can talk a little bit about it. All right. I can even give you, you'll be the first one to get the title. It's called It's called Monster Town PI.
Monster Town PI, an Uncontained exclusive right there. So a Monster Town private investigator, huh? Is that the PI, private investigator?
You're exactly right, man. You'll be
All
a private
right.
investigator in a town full of monsters. It's going to be very highly narrative driven, kind of in the same vein of Stardew Valley and stuff with freedom.
Cool. So there'll be like all sorts of monster crimes and stuff you have to solve.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're gonna go heavy with the puns, with the jokes. We got humor, but we want the show to make you, or the game rather, want it to make you think.
Okay. All right. So it's going to be actually you have to like solve puzzles and stuff, or
There might be some
like,
puzzles. Might be some puzzles.
or is it like I saw a slipper that was out of place with a drop of blood on the toe, and you got to figure that out.
Maybe I should investigate this a little further. Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't look right. That severed head in the corner. There's something weird about that. All right. So you had the video game thing coming on, but the first thing I saw of yours was actually the second part in a two-part thing, LARPers. Yeah. So I had to go back and watch the first part too, but I saw LARPers 2, and it was funny, man. And like basically the setup of it is two guys. I don't know if you listeners don't know what LARPing is, live action role playing.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I'll let you get this set up since it's your film.
Sure. You got two guys, and they look like they're in like sort of a fantasy environment. And they're about to go toe to toe, but then you find out that it's not really what it seems. So yeah.
And then they're rudely interrupted by somebody. I'll just put it that way.
Oh yeah, the hiker. Yeah, she's a recurring character there.
Yes. So, how long have you been working on film or making films?
We've been making films for about a year now. We wrote that first one, that LARPing short. Wrote that in April of last year, actually, and then produced it in May. Mm-hmm. So,
and might as well give a shout out. Black Rose Inc. is your production company, right?
Yep. Black Rose Productions. Yep, we're out here.
All right, and is there a story behind the name, or
a little bit of a story behind the name? So the co-founder of Black Rose Productions is my partner. She's an artist, and her last name is Rose, and so. We wanted to combine her artistic visions. There, she's over there with with all the awesome Black people that are there, and so Black Rose came to fruition.
All right, fair enough.
Also, Black Rose is very symbolic as flowers.
Yes, that is true. Not always a good omen, but very cool.
Exactly. Yeah, you're on the money though, right there. You want to make you think about it. Why is the Black Rose such a bad thing when it's such a pretty thing?
Exactly, like black cats.
Exactly
even notice, like, I have a black dog and people are scared of black dogs, and it seems more than like other dogs. It's like they just look mean. I don't know.
Labradors, man.
But yeah, I don't know how I'd react if somebody just walked up to me on the street and just handed me a black rose and creepily walked away. But I think the way they approach and walk away has a lot to do with it too.
Definitely.
All right, so let's get back to you here. So what started first, the video game developing or the filmmaking?
That's real funny, man, because I actually moved out here to be a game developer, and that's where all of my creative passion started. And it was through a couple of projects starting and then failing that we were like, something's not connecting right. So let's refocus, let's rework our gears and figure something out. And that's when we started to look around and see all the amazingly talented filmmaking people around us. And I was like, man, I've always liked filmmaking and comedy. And so we decided, let's try that out. And once we did the first LARPing, it really, really set a fire underneath us. So we just kept going.
Right on, man. So it all started with game developing and stuff like that. Were you a big video game kid growing up? Were you a big gamer? Or are you still a gamer?
Still a gamer to this day. I don't play as much as I used to, man. I miss it because I work so much, but still love it.
What was your favorite console growing up?
Growing up, I probably would have to be the Xbox. That's the one that sort of centralized my love for games. But I started with the Super Nintendo.
Okay, all right. Almost made it all the way back.
Yeah. That's like the end of consoles, but
Yeah. So what was your favorite game?
Favorite game? Always changing, man. For Super Nintendo, it was probably Mega Man X. So that game was dope. And then once we got to PlayStation era, Final Fantasy VII is still one of my favorite games of all time.
Okay. See, my only problem that I had with Final Fantasy, I don't know if the newer ones are like that, and a lot of other role-playing games, I didn't like taking turns to fight. Like, I didn't.
Your turn.
No, I was like, I was always impatient. I was like, this is stupid. I can put a spell on him, then I have to wait for him to attack me. Give me like Street Fighter or something, you know?
Yeah, man. Strategy games are definitely different. Definitely different.
They are, or even Legend of Zelda. You know, you can. It's the scrolling play, and you can like shoot your swords at people, and you don't have to wait. So, I always like that instant gratification. I think I was meant to be born in like now.
Yeah. There aren't a lot of turn-based games out now that you mentioned it. Yeah.
No, it's like even a lot of the role-playing games seem to have a little bit more like
Real time.
Yeah, real-time play. Thank you for filling in the blank on that one. I was like, like non-taking turns stuff going on. All right, so I'm actually still thinking about your name, Black Rose Productions. And as you were explaining it, you mentioned it's for the last name and also for like for the black people out there. Is it just in the film industry, or is there I'm just curious, do you have a socially conscious effort behind the name or behind the production company?
We have a very socially conscious agenda in that the entertainment that we're making, we want to use it to represent unrepresented voices. And so a predominant amount of the people who work for Black Rose are Black filmmakers. Not exclusively,
Okay.
We are definitely diverse, and our main director is white even, but we want to make sure that we represent those unrepresented voices and places. And that's why LARPing for sure is one. You don't see a lot of Black like fantasy like that. And you should. You should.
Yeah. Yeah. Like did you know a lot of Black LARPers growing up, or?
I didn't. And in Illinois, I don't even think that the actual act of LARPing is something that people do a lot.
It has to be, man, because I'm from Iowa, which is right next door, and there were people LARPing in Iowa, and maybe maybe not in Chicago. Yeah, I drove by a park and saw like a bunch of people with foam swords and shields, and I'm like, what the hell is going on there? Until later on, learn it was called LARPing. So don't tell me Illinois is behind Iowa or Chicago is behind Iowa.
Where I was at, I didn't see nothing like that, man.
Well. Yeah. Chicago, it might not be play violence depending on where you're at.
Yeah, see, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, you didn't have to pretend. Granted, you didn't have swords, which would have made it cooler,
Yeah, true facts, man. True facts.
All right, so where do you see yourself going with Black Rose? Like, are you planning on moving on to features, or are you sticking around with shorts for a while?
You're absolutely in the wheelhouse. So we're doing shorts right now. We're actually working on our second season of content. Just started that. That's exciting. But we have a couple of fully written feature film scripts that we're figuring out and working on. And hopefully by the end of this year, maybe early next year, we'll start producing some of those.
All right, cool. Any trailers for that one too? You got any more uncontained exclusives?
I can't give you any more names of some exclusive stuff, but we are in collaboration with another production team working on a web series for the summertime, and they're trying to shop that to a couple networks. So can't talk about that, but
all right, understand non-disclosure agreements, and also don't want to jinx a deal, that type of thing. Exactly. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. So coming from Chicago to LA and moving into a new scene, like what were some of the challenges like coming from Chicago in the Midwest to LA and getting into film production?
I think the biggest thing was just the culture shock in general. Like people in Chicago and LA are just kind of different in how they vibe and how they move around. But once I really got out here, though, it's pretty easy to collaborate with filmmakers and stuff. They're a lot more open out here.
Yeah. I got a question for you. Like when you say, because I've said this many times, people from the Midwest are a lot different than out here, but I want to know what is your take? What's different? What's how do they vibe differently?
It's mostly the openness and also like niceness, I guess, Not that people in Chicago aren't nice, but we're like, not nice for no reason. Like we're all in our own business, in our own world, trying to just go about life. And some people out here would just say hi for no reason. I'm like, whoa, I don't even know you. You'd say hi to me? That's interesting. Yeah.
Okay. That part was actually isn't that saying hi part randomly isn't much different than say Iowa. That happens there. But what I did notice, like Iowa, Chicago, and like east of there have way more of like almost an East Coast feel in the sense of humor that people have. They aren't as sensitive, and
Yeah.
that like
Yeah.
you can bust balls in the Midwest, and out here make fun of somebody just once and they look like you kicked their dog.
Yeah. No, I do get that too. There is a different sort of level of toughness, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. And just sensitivity too, I guess. Is enough about that. I've probably ranted on that before on this show, so I don't need to go into it again. But I think it all happened after I was doing stand-up and somebody told me the joke would be funnier if I used the word homeless people instead of bums. So yeah, it was like exactly. For those of you listening, he had the perfect facial expression for that for a podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think people need to stop being so sensitive. Anyway,
that person was a bum.
Yeah, exactly. A bum of an audience member, but I won't go into that. So I mentioned that you wear a couple different hats in the entertainment industry. And one thing that I actually I didn't see before this interview was that you're a rapper. That kind of came out in in an introduction that didn't record. So
you're hearing of it.
yeah. So what style of rap are you? Like what do you rap about, man? I'm interested.
I would say I rap about life and what I discover about life, or just the journey that I'm kind of on. I'm very inspired Lupe Fiasco and Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole and those type of guys.
Like inspired by Lupe, do you have horns and stuff then, or that more of his lyrics?
Both, honestly. Like Lupe does do a lot of different stuff production wise, and I do try to mash different styles of production. So like I'll take some heavy trap and combine that with like orchestral horns and some strings and violins and like that. Yeah, I'm all about that.
All right, cool, man, cool. So you got layers and stuff like that in there. And like what do you rap about, like lyrically, content wise?
Content wise, just like if I could describe it, I get very philosophical sometimes, or I could just talk about life that I'm living. I could talk about how hard the struggle and the journey is. And just making sure people around me are like understanding like perseverance. I'm very heavy on like that type of messaging, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Because I like rap, but there's one type of rap that I just can't get into, and I'm glad you didn't say it. It's a bling bling rap. That's what I call it anyway. Like, I don't care. I don't have a Bentley. I don't have a Rolex, and I'd much rather hear some like deeper stuff, philosophical stuff, or like painting pictures with words like Nas does, or something like that, like flipping a verse or flipping words like ludicrous. Like there's two sides to a book. That's why I lick stamps and light matches and stuff like that. And stuff that like the stuff that makes you like at first be like, this guy's rhyming to be rhyming. Then it's like, oh wait, that made sense.
Type of rap. Yeah. That's my stuff, man. That's what you get a lot of that from Lupe, where you can listen to like one song over and over, and every time you're like, wait a minute, what did he say? I didn't even hear that before. Yeah,
I haven't listened to Lupe for a while, but I been a while, but he definitely is good. Like, are there any rappers like coming out of Chicago that influenced you, or like
Lupe would definitely be the biggest one.
Is he out of Chicago?
Yeah, Lupe Fiasco is out of Chicago.
I did not know that. All right. Learn something new every day.
And then like Chance the Rapper's doing well coming out of the Chi-Town. And then, Chief Keef did a lot for the culture. Like that's not my content, but he's influential on the game of rap. So, I got to respect that.
All right, cool. So do you have any other hidden talents that we haven't talked about yet on this episode?
Hidden talents? I used to do improv in college. I miss that a lot, actually.
I've always kind of wanted to do that. I've done stand-up comedy, I'm sure it's completely different than improv because you got to work with another group of people, but also like with stand up, you're the only one standing up there. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's all on you and stand up. With improv, you got some people that, you know, if you're having an off night, they can probably help carry, but you also have to incorporate what they say and yes and stuff.
And man, no, I broke yes and a lot.
What happened with that? Did they like take you and try to sacrifice you after doing that, or what?
There were some that kind of resisted against that, but I've always been like the kind of guy who wants to break certain rules for the sake of it. So let's say we're doing a scene and you want to go to some crazy level, and I'm supposed to yes and your crazy level. I'll deny it first and be like, nah, that's crazy. Let's not do that, and make you push harder. And when you push harder, then I buckle, and the scene has more drama.
Okay. So if I said like we're flying into outer space riding on a banana, you wouldn't be like, yes, and eating applesauce.
Yeah,
or something.
You'd be like, what's going on with this banana boat though? Like, we're gonna talk about this.
Yeah. Like, when did bananas get rockets? How does this happen?
Exactly, man. Yeah. But it's a different beast though. It's fun.
Yeah, I definitely want to try that at some point. So, want to get back on stage doing stand up, and improv would be a blast to try as well. So, out of all the hats that you wear, like, which do you identify yourself as more? Like film producer, video game developer, rapper?
I would say the rapper is the one that I most self-identify as, because no matter what I create, I will always rap. So I don't have to put out rap music to rap. I rap when I'm in my car by myself, or I rap when I'm like with my friends at parties and stuff. Like, I just am that regardless.
Fair enough. And guessing you don't put on a character either. So it's kind of more, is that more just you coming out then? Is that why you kind of identify yourself as that more than anything else? Or
Definitely. If you listen to my music, you can definitely get a deeper sense of who I am, for sure.
All right. Since I didn't know that you were a rapper before, I haven't checked it out yet, but I will definitely check it out. Do you just go by your real name?
I'm West G Poet.
West G Poet. All right. That's why it didn't come up when I Googled your name.
It's not very Googleable. I got to work on that.
It's crazy. Like 15 years ago, that would have just been like a nonsense word, like Googleable, then something you'd have to yes and in improv. But now it's actually a verb. Googleable, Googling, Googleability, and all that.
Googleability. That's hilarious right there.
You know, but it actually is something. Like, as I was talking to you before the show, that's why I go with Aaron Static Render in my Facebook bio, because if you just Google render, you'll get stuff on audio, video rendering, rendering meats and lards. Or if you just Google static, you'll get a lot of stuff on static electricity. And Aaron, come on, like half the population is named Aaron.
Dude, my brother's named Aaron. Like,
see, I told you. You're one person, he's two. That's 50% right there.
Out of two boys they had, one of them was Aaron, and the other was Anson.
Yeah, and then you also have like the female version of the name spelled with an E. But it sounds the same. It sounds the same. So like when I was in class, I had like 5 people named Aaron in my class. It was ridiculous.
Man, yeah, I feel that.
Yeah. At least Anson, you know, it's a good sounding name, and not everybody has it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You're welcome. One other Anson, and he's my dad. So.
Well, yeah, you are a junior, so I guess at 50% of your household, maybe.
It's actually like 20%, 30%.
I guess I don't know how big your family is. I know you have one brother, so what's that?
Brother, one sister.
One brother, one sister, and then okay, so 5 kid or 5 unit family, 3 kids. All right, gotcha. Same here. Now, by any chance, just curious, you're a creative one, so are you the middle child?
Dude, how'd you know?
Because I'm a middle child.
There you go. You solved the puzzle.
Man, is this gonna be in Monster PI?
Monster Tempi, the fact that the middle child is like the most creative one, it should.
Yeah, and that you have to figure out why make the monster the middle monster.
Yeah, always the middle
That
one, man.
always needing at least one of the ones that make a crime or something. I don't know. I'm just sorry, just a brainstorm session. There's no turning this off sometimes. I apologize.
It's all good, man. Okay.
All right, man. So now you've been out in California for a few years now, and chasing after your dreams in hip hop and videos, video games, and just trying to conquer the entertainment industry. So what advice do you have for somebody who is looking to get started out? And you can narrow it down to each aspect or an aspect of what you do, or just in the entertainment industry as a whole.
Well, I'll sort of answer that question in two different ways.
Perfect.
The first way I feel like a person should get started is to just stop listening to anything telling you not to. Like, if you are ready to go, if you're like, I want to create this, then you have people doubting you all the time. It could be your family, it could be your friends, it could be your boss at your job, it could be whoever. The first thing you have to do is be like, they're wrong to tell me not to. I should just do this.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the first thing. The second thing, though, is that you really need to surround yourself with other people who really want it.
Okay. And how do you go about finding those people, or how did you go about finding those people? I know you can't speak to everybody.
Yeah. For me, it was just about really being legitimately interested in other people. Like, I'm out here and I'm like, I do this, I do that. I'm so awesome. But at the same time, there are so many people around you and you just don't know anything about them. So you start talking to your friends and start trying to ask them really questions like, what else? What do you want to do with your life? Or like, what are your passions? What do you do when you're at home by yourself and talking to no one and have nothing to do? Like when you're on YouTube and you're searching for weird stuff, what's the weirdest thing you search for on YouTube to self-improve your life, or just anything like that? And once you're interested in other people, you'll find the passion, you'll see the passion, you'll feel their passion, and you'll be like, whoa, if we combine that, then we'll be even better.
Right on, man. So now that you say that, I have to ask you the question: what do you do when you're home by yourself and like nobody with nothing to do?
Yeah, a couple different flavors.
It doesn't have to go into the gutter, but
nah, man. I'm either, when I wasn't writing music, I was just, I guess, listening to interviews from idols in the industry that I respect. So like the brothers as directors, or like Ryan Coogler as a director, and just trying to listen to and pay attention to everything they're talking about. Donald Glover, Issa Rae, all those people just started to like listen to what they were saying and listen to what their journey was. And I know my journey won't be their journey, but I can still learn something from it.
Yeah, definitely. You don't have to learn the stove is hot by touching the burner. You can learn from other people. Like, oh, that dude touched that burner and he got, he's got some blisters on his hand now. Or, an easier way to do something around that just from somebody else. So that's actually kind of part of the goal of this show, to help give people who want to get into the entertainment industry like some information from people who are doing it like yourself. So
thank you.
That's one of the things that I want, because growing up like in Iowa, like I always wanted to do something like in the entertainment industry in a way, but as a kid I didn't know the first step in doing anything to get to it. So it was like I kind of want to provide that. And
I mess
now
with
that the internet's everywhere, even people that are not in a major city can figure out access to stuff. So
yeah, they can get anything and everything going. You just got to look for it.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. So now that you have a few things on the verge of being able to promote, what do you do to promote yourself?
I'm really big on using social media promotion. Instagram has been working pretty well, and using hashtags has been working pretty well. We're going to definitely put some money into that pretty soon and see how much more that helps with our image. But we've been building kind of grassroots around LA, just working with other businesses and stuff, shooting promotional materials for them. And hopefully that will get our name out as well.
All right, cool. So are you using any specific hashtags, or like how do you know which hashtags that you want to use?
Instagram is actually really good about that because they show you the number of posts that go with certain hashtags. So maybe we're out capturing drone footage. So let's just see what all the drone hashtags are. Hashtag dronestagram, hashtag drones of Instagram, hashtag drone flight. And people who are interested in drones will just check those hashtags and they'll see your video and be like, oh, you guys shoot cool drone videos.
Right on, man. And does show like the number of people who have used that or the number of times that hashtag has been used. Do you have like a cap and like a bottom end and a top end? Like if something has like 37 million times, it's like, will I just get lost in that? Or do you like cap it at like, I don't know, 3 million or something like that?
I think you do a little bit of everything. So you find some of the hashtags that are very wide open with a lot of posts because you're like, people check this out a lot. But then you'll also maybe make your own hashtag. So we hashtag everything with Black Rose. And so if you decide to follow the Black Rose hashtag, you'll always see what we have going on. And that's our more exclusive hashtag.
Okay. Yeah. So like my Uncontained pod, our Live Uncontained hashtag. So
yeah.
And I will make sure to use that hashtag when posting this show. So, you know.
I appreciate it.
Yes, no problem, man. Spread it around. Do you do anything non-traditional as far as promoting yourself? Like not just social media, or like, do you do anything like canvassing with flyers or going out to events or anything like that? Do you host your own events?
I feel like the most non-traditional way that we promote ourselves is when we're just out in LA filming or doing stuff, especially when we have the drone out. People get excited and interested and they just start walking up and asking questions. I'm like, hey, who are you? What are you doing? What's going on? And you just start self-promoting right in that moment. Oh, we're Black Rose. We're filmmakers. We have this and that. So I've handed out my business card on shoots all the time. It's really weird.
Right on, man. Right on. So can you just go around anywhere in LA with a drone, or do you have to get a permit to do it first, or do you do it guerrilla style, or what?
You definitely look into the area first and then see about permits. There was a couple times when we started out where we were totally guerrilla with it just because we just got the thing and we didn't know. But we try to do our research now and get our proper permits.
Okay, all right. I wasn't trying to entrap you or anything. I was gonna be like, oh, get him.
I'm gonna incriminate myself. I'll incriminate myself.
I had the film police outside the door just waiting, man.
Waiting. Unregistered drone videos. Let's get them.
This show is going a little crazy. I'm sorry.
It's uncontained, man.
I know, right? I can't have rules on this, man. So I did want to bring up one of your other videos that you had on there. It was a suspenseful video, a car ride with like, where you were expecting the jump scare the whole time.
Curbside chaos, yeah.
Yes. And I was like, what's gonna happen? Actually,
so, one of my favorite ones, man.
Yeah, I like how you got the suspense in that and anything. Did you have like any, like, how did you capture the suspense while shooting? Do you have like a method of doing that?
Well, on that day in particular, it was a really small crew. It was the most bare bone crew was only 4 of us. And we were outside in the wilderness and it was just dark and cold. And believe it or not, that's all you need to really get that feeling on cameras, being cold, looking around and not being able to see very far.
Yeah, because you're already shivering, which makes you like shake like you're scared. So cool, man. So, and this is all on your YouTube channel as well, right? And that's by the same name, Black Rose Inc. on YouTube. So if you want to check out these videos that we're talking about, you can check out Curbside Chaos, LARPing 2, and LARPing 1 still on there, correct?
Mm-hmm. LARPing 1, LARPing 2, Game Chat, a couple ones on there.
And That's Funny Nilo.
That's Funny Nilo. She's a comedian that we actually work with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a set of hers, or like what is that one?
Yeah, that's one of her sets. She puts on a comedy show once a month, and we just started working with her in February. So that's her Valentine's Day set.
Oh, okay. Relationship hating and everything.
Oh yeah, it goes there, man. It goes.
I'm sure it is. There's no other way to have a Valentine's Day set. Nobody wants to hear the mushy stuff on Valentine's Day.
Oh, I don't know. They want that drama.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out and check her out as well. So I just wanted to make sure I brought up that curbside chaos because I dug that video and I was like, oh man, they did a good job making this suspenseful. So
I appreciate that, man. We've been getting good receptions on that one, and I was pretty nervous about it because the rest of them are more comedy. So that was us kind of getting outside of our wheelhouse a little bit.
trying to do the going from comedy to horror like Jordan Peele, right?
Definitely got to follow in the Jordan Peele footsteps, man.
Those are not bad footsteps to follow in, man.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, so that could be one of those videos you sat at home and watched and learn not to touch the burning stove, or learn.
Jordan Peele taught me everything I need to know about the stove, man. Don't touch it.
Yeah, because after you touch the stove, your hand will go bad and turn into a zombie hand, like in Evil Dead, or something like that.
Evil Dead, man, classic.
Have you ever seen Evil Dead?
I've seen the new TV show where they came back and redid it. And
Okay.
I'm so aware of like the Bruce Campbell classics, but I never got to see him. I should check him out.
Okay, yeah. So, like with horror movies, when I was a kid, like I didn't really care about them because one, they didn't scare me, and two, I was like, if they don't scare me, what's the point? Then I saw Army of Darkness with Bruce Campbell, and then I was like, oh man, horror movies, they can scare you, but they're also supposed to make you laugh at things, because that one's like one of those intentionally kind of cheesy horror movies, but if done well. But the Evil Dead Part 1 and Part 2, they're almost exactly the same movie, but they're just reshot like with better film and stuff like that. But that's more of an actual horror movie. It's less campy, less like I'll make you laugh. But that kind of helped me appreciate horror movies, and I really like horror movies now. So whether they're funny or scary or whatever.
Yeah, man, I wasn't into horror movies growing up. Chucky scarred me. I was like 6 when I saw that.
Oh man, a little young for that. About the same size.
But yes, a couple years after that, though, I saw Dead Silence was my first horror movie, and I really like them now. I want to find one that can scare me. They never do.
Yeah. Occasionally, like a jump scare will like kind of get me to go, like, just jump a little bit, but never like hide behind the blankets and pillows or whatever type thing. Yeah. I'm trying to think if there was like a horror movie that I've seen anytime recently that's made me look over to see if the door's locked or anything like that. Because that'd be a good horror movie, man. Get you sitting there like so on edge. You're like, man, door locked, the curtains are closed. All right, good. We're good. No monsters will get me. So are you looking to get more into horror movies or horror shorts, or are you planning on sticking with the comedy?
We're definitely going to continue to expand. Chaos is going to be a series, just like LARPing is a series that had a sequel. So there will be a sequel to Curbside Chaos coming out soon.
All right, very cool. Looking forward to that one as well. And now, in your time doing like everything that you do, what is a highlight or two that you would care to share with the Uncontained audience?
Let's see. I guess probably January this year when we shot LARPing 2, and it was the first time we had the drone. And it was the same crew from the first LARPing, which like we had shot like 4 projects in between those two. So it was like coming back to form, everybody bringing their A game. It was beautiful outside, and everything felt right. So that's probably my highlight for Black Rose's year right now. It's just shooting LARPing.
Okay. Shooting LARPing 2.
Yeah, it was a great time. Second one would probably be GDC, man. That GDC 19 was fantastic. I talked to a lot of indie game developers, small teams of like 5 or 6 that are about to put games out, to just re-inspire me to know that like my small team of 4, we can do it. We can make some stuff happen.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. I actually really want to go to GDC. As of right now, I don't necessarily have a reason to, except for I want to get into doing voiceover, like for video games and stuff like that. Because in answer to the question of what do you do when you're home and nobody's around, I kind of walk around talking in different voices, like quoting movies and stuff like that, or like, I didn't know it was weird either until there was one time I was like listening to More Stories with Jay Moore, and he was like, he was telling a story about how he was like quoting a line from the movie Platoon, and his wife yelled downstairs, "What was that?" And he's like, "Oh, nothing, just quoting a line from the movie Platoon." And then she like came downstairs later. She's like, "Are you telling me that like if I wasn't here, you'd still be doing that?" He's like, "Yeah." She's like, "That's weird." I was like, I do that too.
Yep, man.
Walking down the street, talking in weird voices, like, you know, some of the homeless people out. I'll use it, so use that word so I don't offend the person that was in Berkeley.
No, man, I definitely quote Avengers and like Community whenever I'm around, especially my partner. We love quoting our favorite stuff. But it's definitely weird to other people.
The TV show Community?
Yes, love that show, man.
Yes, that was great. Is that still, that's not still on, is it?
No way.
Okay, I was gonna be like, I haven't seen that, like I've lost touch with that. And Glover has gotten way too big with the Childish Gambino to be doing that.
Yeah, man, he's doing amazing stuff.
Yeah, man. So, dude, I've had a blast talking to you today. Going from subject to subject is kind of fun to do that. Maybe we should do improv or something like that. We could
you, man. It'd be great.
We could have started something right there.
We'll have to make that happen next time I'm in the Bay Area.
Yeah, or if I get down to LA, man, we'll have to make it work. But I got like 2 more questions for you before I let you get about your night here. All right. So,
all right.
Before we get out of here, though, you gotta give me good answers. Damn it! All right.
I'll pull out some real good answers for these.
All right, thank you, especially for these. No, so, is there anything in particular when somebody like watches a film, hears you rapping, or will eventually play your video game? Is there anything that you want them to take away and remember about your creation?
I really want all of my creations to kind of make people look deeper at themselves and try to become better people. Like, I never want to drill the message in too heavily because everybody is flawed. And that's kind of what makes us beautiful. But that journey to try to become a better person, that's what I want people to take away from my art.
Okay. All right. I'll qualify that as a good answer. I'll let that.
It was good enough. It was good enough. B minus.
All right, man. So, all right, it's time for that final question of the show. Before we get to that question, where can people find you online? What's your corner of the internet?
Oh, they should follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Zolo the Legend. ZOLO the Legend, all one word.
All right. And do you have a separate account for your film and music and everything too?
Yes, they can follow Black Rose Pro, Black Rose __ Pro on Instagram and Twitter. And they can also follow at Onyx Fortress on Instagram and Twitter.
All right. Perfect, man. Perfect. So now you guys get out there, hit them up on social media, let them know you heard them right here on Uncontained. And yeah, just if you're going to stalk them, just do Facebook stalking. All right. Anything more than that is creepy.
Keep it tasteful.
And do it tastefully. And yeah, so it's time for the title question of the show. The final question of the show. Anson W. Goode Jr., how do you live uncontained?
Man, I just do whatever I feel in my heart, which is my art, which is to make games, make movies, to try to make people laugh, to try to make the world a better place, regardless of what people tell me is possible.
Hell yeah, man. Short, sweet, and to the point right there, but very powerful. Man, thank you for joining me today. And I look forward to what's that?
It's been an awesome opportunity, Aaron. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, thank you. I've had a blast, and I look forward to checking out your rapping, man. I'll have to Google that. What was your rap name one more time?
Wes G Poet, WESG Poet. Just now putting out stuff under that name. So I'll send you some of the older stuff so you can check it out.
All right. Sounds good. I have one final thing for you to do. Anson, will you do me the honor of signing off the show tonight?
Absolutely, man. I'm with Black Rose. We out here. I'm Anson Goode Jr. and I live uncontained.
And that does it for another episode of Uncontained. Thank you for listening, and thank you to Anson Goode Jr. for joining me on the show today. And we will have to do that improv thing sometime, whether it's up here in the Bay Area or down there in LA. We'll have to make some improv happen, and yes and or don't yes and we'll make it interesting. So once again, this April 27th, I will be on stage with Hilarious Fridays and past guest Ace Boone as he celebrates his second anniversary of Hilarious Fridays at La Estrellita in Oakland. So come on out, check out my reemergence as I knock a little rust off. But if you are interested in tickets, hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at Uncontained Pod. Yes, at Uncontained Pod at Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And just let me know and I'll get you set up with some tickets here. And I also want to thank everybody who has been using that Amazon link at the top of my webpage, uncontainedpod.com, and helping support the show in that way. But thank you for listening. Thanks again to Anson. And until next time, live uncontained.